Hey guys, back again, Mr. Champion, and we're going to look at our last section of Chapter 10, and we're going to look at moving toward the War of 1812. Now for Section 4, we're going to look at the essential question, what impact did the Madison presidency have on America? If you remember, we finished up looking at Jefferson and in conflict and going out because of his bad choice in the embargo. We're going to look at Madison and how he deals with the conflicts that arise in America in a conflict with the British. So you should be able to explain why conflicts between white settlers and Native Americans broke out in the early 1800s. And then also you want to be able to describe why the War Hawks pushed for war with Great Britain. Now, many settlers pushed in some 900,000 into the Ohio River Valley and the Indiana Territory between 1790 and 1810. And as a result, Native Americans began to attack settlers, first little small isolated cases, but as the numbers grew, so did the type of attacks and revenge that took place in this particular area. Eventually, many of these tribes are decimated, they're destroyed, or brought down to very few numbers, and Ohio comes into union in 1803. If you look at a map here, you can kind of get an idea of the various tribes that were along the Ohio River Valley, and those that were lost, and the land that was lost between 1750 and 1810. If you also remember here, just to keep in mind that this is also the Louisiana Purchase that President Jefferson purchased, and so you have settlement that's taking place in here, despite of the analysis that you saw in the pushback from the Federalists about acquiring this territory and eventually what would happen to it. So they moved from the Ohio River Valley into the Indiana Territory, and they encountered the Suwannee. Now the Suwannee was led by a young chief, Indian warrior, Tecumseh, and he was determined to not let their land get taken. He and his brother, the Prophet, they both felt like their elders had gotten too many trade agreements, and where the Native Americans were taking on the ways of the white settlers, and so he felt like they should break ties and move back to the old way of life. And so what he formed was a confederation of all of the Indian tribes to mount a resistance against the white settlers. William Henry Harrison, he was a commander who led his troops to try and quell this rebellion or this resistance. One particular battle was the Battle of Tippecanoe, and you'll see a short video clip on Moodle kind of giving you an overview and more insight to this. But basically you had Tecumseh. He was away trying to garner up support from the other tribes, and as the troops moved toward Prophetstown, his brother the Prophet attacked the troops, battles broke out. Eventually Harrison would overtake these Native Americans and the Prophet, but it showed that the Native Americans could put up a fight, and Tecumseh would continue to fight a resistance until his death. As a result of these conflicts with the Native Americans, the relationship between Great Britain became poor. One of the things that Great Britain was doing was supplying the Native Americans. Again, as we're supplying both the French and the British when they're entering into battle, the British are also doing the same thing here as we're finding difficulty in settling the Western Territory. Eventually, we would declare war on Great Britain. However, James Madison, he offered both Britain and France the opportunity to gain our U.S. supplies. So, again, trying to pick a side if they recognize U.S. neutrality. So France agrees to this, and so we supply France and we don't supply Great Britain. For many Americans, they were split as to what to do. One particular group, New England merchants, they had a great tie and connection with Great Britain. A lot of their commerce that took place was with Great Britain, and so they didn't want to go to war because that would damage that. Remember, they protested against the embargo from President Jefferson, and so Madison breaking and cutting ties with supplying the British also didn't find favor with the New Englanders. However, those in the South and in the West, known as the War Hawks, these men, led by Henry Clay, they forged a sense of nationalism, a deep devotion to one's country, and they believed that if we would win a war against Great Britain, again as an independent nation, as we break away from them, that it would make safety not only for those in the eastern part and the southern part of the United States, but for a settlement as we move west. Now, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and pause right now, fill in your summary for Section 4. Remember, you need to post this summary into Moodle in order for you to get credit, and then when you're done, go ahead and pick up and complete your notes for Section 5.